What's up, everybody? Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick.
I'm Jammin John.
And we have an album review for you. And I guess technically this came out last week, or this week, or March 10th. Not really sure. There's a lot of release dates for this, but we definitely wanted to go over this because we're probably going to see this band here soon, MDF. We're going to go over the latest offering from Hirax, Faster Than Death. This, again, comes out on multiple dates, on multiple different labels, Dementia Records, Armageddon label, and Kill Again Records. This band formed in 1984 in California. This is their 6th full-length overall, which doesn't sound like a lot over the course of the years, but there's a ton of splits, there's a ton of EPs, and this band, I would say, is like one of the OGs of crossover thrash. In fact, when it comes down to like which bands did the first blast beats ever in metal, the conversation generally circles around this band and S.o.d. Keaton is pretty much the only original member here. They're a longtime vocalist, but he definitely recruited a rowdy bunch to record this. And going into this, I mean, I hadn't listened to Hirax in a while. I got into them like in, I would say, like the late 2000s with an album I can't remember right now. But I know it was them. And I was like, yeah, this is pretty cool. And then I kind of forgot about them for a while. And then lo and behold, all this promotion started coming out for a new Hirax album. I was like, oh, wow, I should check out this band again. And I actually went and got their first 2 albums on a compilation. I was like, man, this was some absolutely rowdy, vicious shit.
Yeah, I'd never actually really listened to this band before, although countless songs have appeared on countless playlists over the years, so I'm sure I've heard them, but just didn't know I heard them. Danny Walker plays drums on this record, and Danny and I have been in contact for the last, I don't know, year or two because of this channel and just bullshitting about shit. I saw on his Facebook he recorded a drum video playing one of the songs on this record, so I was like, oh, cool, I'll probably check it out. And here we are. And the funny thing about this record, going into this blind, I wasn't sure what I was gonna get, but at the same time, it immediately from the rip sounds like a ton of stuff I'm already into. So by proxy, that would state that I am already into this band. Absolutely vicious. And it happens from the rip. The opening track, Drill Into the Brain, you get a drill noise, and then some of the most aggressive riffing out there. The rhythm guitars here, this guy is giving Scott Ian from Anthrax a run for his money. It's that kind of vicious all throughout.
Yeah, this maintains this breakneck speed throughout. Like, you get moments of like good grooves, good solid chugs, but I mean, this album can't wait to go fast. Like, even on like some of the ones that come in a little bit slower, like you get like just these good, hefty, meaty chugs, like stuff you would associate with S.o.d. again. A lot of power trip vibes occasionally. Yeah. But it can't wait to go fast. And generally you get like one quick drum break and then we are back to D-Beat City and machine gun riffs. And I don't have a fucking problem with that at all.
Nope, me either. This is a very much throw all the furniture record. Not just the chairs, not just couches, like even the furniture that's nailed down, like rip it up, throw it out the window, fuck it.
Yeah, this is the kind of album, or I would even say the kind of band that kind of has this vibe where they only play house shows and the house is like scheduled to be demolished the next day anyway. So they're just like, hey, fuck this place up. See that couch? Set it on fire before you throw it. Let's have some fun here. We're probably going to get shut down by the cops, but this set's going to be short anyway. We might be able to fucking finish before they get here. This album kind of oozes the same energy as like Paul Bailoff. Like, it's just got that poser crushing energy and his just over the top sort of nature. Every song in here is just vicious, and production on here is raw and gritty. Honestly, it sounds kind of just like flat out like a jam session.
Yes, and you not only notice that pretty much from the rip with the guitar tone. I mean, it's very raw, very organic, very crunchy, like beefy guitars, but there's no studio magic going on here. And I really noticed it in the drumming. Not that the drumming's not good, because Danny's a solid drummer through and through. You know, look at his work in Intronaut. But the song Warlord's Command has a couple of moments of isolated drum work where he's using more double kick, and you know, while this man uses double kick like crazy anyway, you can hear that not all the kicks, at least the way they're being recorded, are even. Like, it didn't sound off, it just sounded like using a double kick pedal on a single drum. You know, if you don't trigger, you're gonna hit times where the kicks aren't even. And it had that sound, and I was like, I bet that's a totally raw live recording. And it has that vibe throughout, and that's something that I think makes this record really unique.
Yeah, and I mean, Danny's drum work is awesome regardless. Like, I haven't heard an album with him on drums where he's not absolutely crushing it. But here, it's just hyper aggressive. It's fast. Like, yeah, the fills occasionally get some more like technical ones, but for the most part, it's just violent and fast. There's even like a brief moment on here where they kind of squeeze in a tiny blast beat just for shits and giggles. But a lot of this kind of screams like the drum performance that's on S.o.d. Like there's some Charlie-isms in the drum work. Warlord's Command, again, there's these, rapid fire little snare rolls in between the D beats, and that's just kind of like a very Charlie move right there. And the riff work in here is catchy but ferocious. Like, this dude does not lay off of, the machine gun riffs for very long. Like, the most you get is like, a slower chug every now and then, but guess what? The machine gun riffs are coming. But there's this cool sort of dynamic here where, Keaton, he definitely has like, a good hardcore sort of yell, like it's very punky, but he also likes to do like these big wails every now and then too. And there are moments on here where it kind of goes into Anthrax territory, or like a nod to like classic heavy metal. The song Relentless, while it is loaded with like down-picked, punky, vicious riffs, it's going a million miles an hour. It has like bridge on there where they kind of break into these almost like heavier Judas Priest riffs, and Keaton wails a little bit. Completely changes the energy. Like you go from like, the flat out hardcore crossover to like speed metal and classic heavy metal. But the transitions work, and ultimately it's just fun. Like that song in particular has some of the most fun riff changes on the entire album.
Yep. A lot more dynamic going on in there. Like, again, so many styles are represented. Like, I thought the beginning sounded like early Pantera, like Cowboys from Hell era, and then by the time you get to that bridge, you're a little bit of Maiden, a little bit of Priest, but there's probably a good, 5-6 riff changes in there where it covers all the bases. You got punk, you got classic speed metal, you got hardcore stomps, and just blistering speed, again, found in things like Anthrax and S.o.d, and, but it plays with all that well. Like, these songs move very quickly. Like, there's a few songs on here that are like a minute and a half, and then there's a couple songs that are 3 minutes, but moving at that speed, they don't often incorporate so many styles, except in that song.
Revenant is the longest track in there, but oddly enough, that one isn't like kind of all over the place. You get like a kind of a big hardcore, like double time lead in, like you get the big floor tom hits in there, like the big, like, let's get the fist pumping before we inevitably destroy the venue. And then it kind of goes more into like just straight up thrash, like not crossover thrash. Like this sounds like a song that could have been on like Bonded by Blood. Like it's got ferocious Exodus energy on it. And some of these songs are a little bit more straight ahead thrash. Like the last song, World's End, is a full throttle thrash closer, no breaks run. It is vicious as hell. It's got a weird crawling lead on there that just sounds like it's slowly unraveling itself. I love the energy across the board on here. And this is a very short release. It is under 22 minutes, but honestly, across the board, I dug every track on here. Like, my complaints on here were very minimal. Most of it was just like feeling the welling of energy in every song. Like, even again, in the slower moments, which are very few, you can feel the energy start to build up a bit. Faster Than Death comes in like a chuggy power trip song. It's mean, it's vicious, it's got like a hardcore sort of backbone to it, and then it just explodes into thrash. And you can feel it kind of moving to that point, and it's continuously getting more and more rowdy, like it's, again, about to destroy something. There are very few moments on here where it doesn't feel like it is building to like the most intense moment possible, which, this is crossover. It should be building to that only all the time. Revenant at least kind of throws in some melodies, like you get some cool crawling leads. There a little bit of tapping in there too, but it inevitably just gets supercharged and angry and then just kicks down the door. And I will definitely say that this is a throwback. It is 100% a throwback to like just the angriest side of crossover. Like, there's nothing on here that I would say is very modern at all. Maybe the production, but the guy that did this, Max Norman, I mean, if you look at his resume, he's worked with a lot of classic bands. Death Angel, Megadeth, I think Armored Saint was in there too. Like, he works with old school bands, and this band just has a flat out old school sound pretty much across here. The only thing I would say is like, the production feels beefed up. It's definitely on steroids. Like, I would say the guitars are almost more comparable to like Sodom now. But, there are some issues here. I do think the bass is a little loud.
High. It wasn't immediately noticeable. It wasn't until the second track, Armageddon, where I was just like, whoa. But even so, it's not loud enough to the point where it drowns out everything. It just is a little bit higher than everything else. It's noticeable at that point, and it doesn't really lose that volume throughout the record after that. But I don't think it was enough to take away from anything. It's a noticeable leveling thing.
And there were a couple of tracks in here that, I mean, all of them hit hard. I can't say they didn't hit as hard.
Yeah, dude.
I guess I could say like they punched me like with bare knuckles instead of brass knuckles. Faster Than Death, while I dig that song, like, again, it's a continuous build. I feel like it ends too abruptly. It ends at a point where the energy still feels like it's welling up.
But at the same time, it's a barn burner. I mean, there's a couple barn burners on here, and if you're gonna make a song that's a minute 30 and change, you might as well go all out. And they still incorporated quite a few things in there. Big isolated drum intro, big chuggy stomp, and then off to the races. Like, that's a barn burner. And if that's the point, you gotta end it. Well, why not go on a fast note?
Take that fast note and go faster. I don't know, go longer. I wanted more song out of that one. That's the only issue. Like, there's not enough there. Like, it kind of left me hanging. But I mean, when you get down to psychiatric ward, like, well, okay, we're good. We're good again. And the other one, Warlord's Command. While that one probably has like probably the most dynamics on the album, like it switches around a lot. In fact, man, the transitions come quick as shit. Like, it's one of the longer tracks on here, but I feel like it doesn't settle down enough on certain riffs. Like, it does repeat some cool sections, but some of the transitions just come a little bit too quickly on there. And I will say that, yeah, I don't expect a tremendous amount of groove with crossover thrash, but some of these groovy sections are really, really good. Mm-hmm. But I gotta say, I wouldn't mind like the chuggier sections on like the title track and Revenant just to hang out a little bit longer. But I mean, outside of that, I don't have really many like big complaints. And honestly, I really wasn't sure about this album when it was coming out because again, I hadn't listened to them in a while. And the stuff that I had heard in the late 2000s, I thought it was all right. This, I don't know, feels more geared towards the old school fans though.
I would 100% agree, especially with the comparable bands here. Like, this is not new school by any means. This is old school, just beefed up a little bit more. Overall, though, I'm going to give this record 4 stars. This is a hell of a listen. Again, very aggressive. Like, absolutely vicious. Like, even in the slower moments, it doesn't lose its intensity. They're definitely out to get you. You can tell everybody's having fun. Again, I like the raw, organic production. It sounds pretty much like I think what this will sound live. We're probably definitely going to have to check them out at MDF, especially coming off of this album. It's riffy, it's in your face, it's just non-stop aggression, and that's what I really like the most. I wish there was more I could say about it, but it was only 21 minutes. I guess if I could say anything, maybe make it 22 minutes, maybe 23 minutes. I don't know. I could have used a whole lot more of this record, but what they gave as an offering was more than enough. By the end of this record, I felt tired for everybody. If you're into bands like Anthrax, S.o.d, Municipal Waste, things like that, you're probably really going to like this. I would recommend giving this a spin.
I am also at a 4. Man, this album is built for pits. Like this is gonna be like people just rolling over one another and being tossed like fucking just carcasses and shit. This album just packs that classic crossover punch to it, and I love it. Like, this is pure fuck you, dad, I'll mow the lawn when I'm good and fucking ready. Also, I love you, mom. Gotta balance it out so you only get grounded by one parent.
Yeah, you learn that.
This is absolutely packed to the brim with just rapid fire riffs. It is high energy from start to finish. Like, there's not a moment on here where it is lacking in energy. Caton sounds great. He's 61 now, and I think he's gotten a little bit more gruffer. He's not going for the higher pitch wails anymore, but honestly, where he's at, he's got a comfortable range, and his delivery has conviction behind it. I think Caton sounds like Zetro thinks he sounds. And I think that's pretty much it. Sorry, Zetro's just, he sounds like a goblin. The songs are generally very short, to the point, but there's a lot of fun, riffy transitions in them. And fun is sort of the thing. Like, every song in here was fun. Like, if you go to a party and someone puts this on and you're just eyeballing your buddy's couch, yes, you should throw it out the window.
But set it on fire first.
Set it on fire first. And, definitely resist arrest when the cops come, because they're definitely coming.
That second shot of Jameson, go ahead and have 5 more.
Yeah. Follow with some Fireball, too.
Yep.
But, yeah, this is an absolutely killer album. Way to go. And, I'm looking forward to seeing these guys at MDF. And again, if you're a big fan of, literally all the bands we have mentioned here, check this out. It's fucking legit. So, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up. If you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We also have memberships that are only 99 cents, and we do a members-only live stream as our lone perk, which those pop up at least monthly or so. We're probably working on, the next one should be coming up relatively soon, and we might think of a subject. We might just come on there and talk about weird shit again, because it's us. Either way, the memberships are the new way to support the channel more directly. We still have our store, thrallsmetal.com, with our t-shirts and hats. That is linked down below. And of course, if you would like to become a member, there's a join button down there someplace.
Tons of stuff going on at Thralls of Metal, album reviews, discography rankings. We got At the Gates coming up next, which will be pretty sweet. Multiple discussion forums. You're going to see one coming out here real soon. We talk about metal all the time. Nick's Never-Ending Collection updates, States of Metal, is it not metal? We are glad that you guys are here, that you guys have liked and subscribed and talked to us and comment and do all the wonderful things you do. We couldn't do this without you. We actually probably wouldn't do this without you. We might, but it would be like it was in the old days where we just talked to ourselves about it and no one cared. But we're glad that you care. We're glad that you're here. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you guys absolutely rule. Tons of content coming your way. So one more big thank you, because you guys are awesome, and we will catch you later.